Hello everybody, my name is Zohir Chaudhary and today we'll talk about special waste and e-waste. So what is e-waste? E-waste stands for electronic waste, and essentially we produce a lot of e-waste if you think about it, from cell phone, printer, television, VCR, DVD players, etc., etc. We use a lot of electronic waste, especially in the last 20-30 years. We have been using a lot of electronics, which in turn, because of their relatively short lifetime, they become waste very easily. The reason why their lifetime is so short currently is for multiple reasons. One thing could be that the firmware or the software that needs to be used with the electronics is no longer supporting that older version of the electronics. So the hardware, even though it works, you have to dispose of it. Other times it could be just that your system is just running slow, and with all the new internet and the features and the apps, your older hardware with the older software is unable to support all of these new features that are demanded by the high load that we need from the internet or other platforms that the electronic relies on. So it becomes unusable essentially. Then there's also a trend that is going on, that every time, like every year, each manufacturer will release a new product with some new updates, and you need to have that new product, which makes your older product unusable to some extent, or like waste for you. Anyway, so with the passage of the Electronic Waste Recycling Act of 2003, certain portion of the electronic waste stream are defined, and the system to recover and recycle them will be administered regularly beyond the universal waste rules that apply to material handling. So e-waste is a special kind of waste, and electronic waste, they are they are dangerous in a sense if they're released into the environment, because many of these electronic wastes, they contain high amount of lead, mercury, cadmium, which is very dangerous, as well as arsenic, and which when people are exposed to these chemicals from the environment, it can lead to cancer, miscarriages, neurological damage, as well as diminished IQs, to name a few of the health effects. So it's very important to be able to control electronic system and its distribution properly. The video in here is very interesting, and I highly recommend that you watch it. It will also be posted on Blackboard. These are the location where electronic waste are produced. So in blue shows all the areas where electronic waste are produced in the million tons, and the other areas in red shows all the major recycling centers on the globe. So produce electronic waste in developed countries, typically they end up from developed countries, they end up in developing countries in the major recycling centers. As we mentioned, that the electronic waste contains a lot of valuable chemicals. For example, a mobile phone can contain over 40 elements, and most common metal is copper, but there can also be precious and semi-precious metals within a cell phone, such as silver, gold, and palladium. For many of the recyclers that are located in developing countries, for them it's very attractive to be able to harvest all of these metals and precious and semi-precious metals from electronic waste. So they encourage exportation of e-waste from developed countries to developing countries because they can make a livelihood out of it. However, as the video shows, many of these developing countries, they don't have proper infrastructure to be able to deal with all of this electronic waste. So they are released into the environment after the precious metals are extracted and causes severe problem in developing countries. However, there are some initiatives right now. One such important one is the Basel Convention, which prohibits such types of trade without the proper infrastructure being available. So developed countries, they must ensure that developing countries do have the proper infrastructure to handle the electronic waste before that waste is exported into developing countries. So let's do a quick concept check. Which of the following is or are an example of e-waste? Exactly. Cell phone and a computer mouse, C and D. These two are examples of electronic waste. So the answer would be 2 of the above. Thank you.